All right, we made it. Jackson Hardin here. Well, look at this space. It's kind of messy. All right, we made it. Another week here. Another week. We're doing it. Oh, there we go. Much better. All right. So welcome to this live stream. My name is Jackson Hardin. I don't know how to start these things. I never know how to start these things, but I'm glad I'm sitting down and doing them and recording them. I've been for a long time. I've had this notion of recording these videos, pulling from my week reviews. So I do this week review process where I sit down and I look at what worked the past week, what didn't work, what my accomplishments were. I look at a few different areas of my life. I have it broken down into self-mastery. That's mind, body, spirit, emotions, relationships with self, with a significant other, friends, family, community, God, and then purpose and work, which entails things like finances, purpose out in the world doing things, purpose as in connection with like spirit and God and living through that. And for me right now, purpose and fatherhood. So there's a few different areas and elements to that. And then work, vocation, business review, kind of falls into that category. So I do these reviews. I've been doing it for probably a decade, really. And they really help. They help me reground. They help me kind of dial it back in as the week comes to a close. Because at the end of the week, a Sunday, I can forget about everything that was going on, everything that I did, everything that I was up to in the week. And sometimes it can feel like I haven't done anything. That when I sit down and I look at these accomplishments and I analyze these different areas of my life, it can be very helpful for me just to refresh and see what's actually happening, to zoom out and get a good look at all that. And this is something I've harped on a lot in the past, whether it be with clients or in programs that I've developed. I have, like an item you can purchase, reflect and reset, I think is what I called it. It's been a little while. I need to update all that, but it's a PDF that takes you through all this process. And it's a process that I use in my men's groups when I'm doing monthly calls because, like I said, it helps us look at what's been working, what's not, and reset for the week ahead. And for me, I find a lot of times people in, coaches or leaders in different aspects, whether that be people that facilitate events, that be coaches, that be teachers, that be somebody that wants to get into that, they're generally pretty self-aware individuals, at least the people that I work with, and they're often very critical. They're A types. That's why they would go out and take action to create a business, to start something new, to develop themselves in any way, to help other people. They're A types in the sense that they wouldn't call themselves that. They wouldn't call themselves that. They think that there's something wrong with them. They need to do better, that they're lazy, that they're slackers. They have all these very interesting views of themselves, and myself included. I think a lot of the people that I attract and work with are a good reflection of me, or a younger version of me. So this is definitely, these are all elements and things that I've dealt with throughout my life. And what happens is they don't see themselves as, leaders, as teachers, as facilitators. They don't see themselves as being um, being who they are. And part of the reason that they don't, that part of the reason that they are who they are and they are that type of a person is the fact that they don't see themselves as that. So they're constantly trying to be that and do better and grow and develop, right? So you have somebody that's constantly in his mind saying, this isn't good enough. I need to do better. This is something that I can improve. Oh, that wasn't my best work. So they're constantly striving to do better. And in doing so, they become these individuals, but they're completely unaware that they are, because all they have going on is, this negative self-talk and in this criticism of how everything isn't as perfect as it is in their mind or in their vision of how it could be. Again, very guilty of this whole pattern myself. So the week review is a great way, again, to reassess all of that and to zero in and to dial in and go, oh, this is actually what happened this week. And this is what I want to focus on next. And it gives good repetition and practice in recognizing your accomplishments. This is something that a lot of the people that I work with have a challenge with. It's something that I'm like constantly kind of working on myself in certain ways, because I'll get lost, if I miss a week review, like what a loser I am, right? I can be hard on myself if I miss a week review or whatever, and I start getting in my head about how I didn't get anything done this week, and the review helps. So anyway, I'm harping on all this because something that I've had the vision of doing for a long time is using the lessons and the takeaways that I have from my review, and just speaking on some of those things that I learned or things that came up for me this week. So that's what I'm doing today. Is I'm actually going to be talking about a lesson that kind of came up for me this week that I think is pertinent to those who might watch this. And that lesson is future tripping. Tripping about the future. I think it's a Mark Twain quote, something along the lines of, there's been a lot of bad shit that happened in my life, and some of it actually happened. Some of it actually happened in the world. A lot of it was just experienced, in the mind. Future tripping, thinking about things going wrong, fantasizing. I think they call this anxiety in today's world. But there's this dude, I think he's called the Buddha. He talks about getting lost in the past and getting lost in the future. That pulls us away from the present moments, that pulls us away from the here and now, that pulls us away from the peace and the serenity that's available to us. And so we get lost in the future, or we get lost in the past. So future tripping is getting lost in the future. Getting lost in the past would be like dwelling on things that happened back then that we regret, or things that didn't go the way we wanted them to go, or there's a variety of ways that can come up. Dwelling in the past, nostalgia, like, oh, it was the high school football star and everyone loved me, and now I fucking work at Big O Tires, and that's the highlight of my life. And we dwell on that, and then it pulls us away from what's here and now and what we can be doing. Future tripping would be the opposite of that. Focusing so much on the future that you can create anxiety, overwhelm, not take action, or be just so lost up in your head that you're not present, right? And this is more of my flavor. I like to trip on the future. I like to look at things that are happening out there in the future, and I can get lost in them, and I can get lost in the details. I can think about something that I want to create, and I can get lost in the problems that might occur 6 months down the line, as if they were occurring now, right? So this week, one of the lessons that I had, one of the takeaways, one of the things I reflected upon was that catching myself when I recognize, like, oh, I'm in the future again. I'm too far down the line. This isn't today's step. This isn't the thing that I need to work on right now. This is, next week's problem. Or this is a problem. I need to focus on this problem when it occurs. Right now, it's just distracting me, right? And it's pulling me out of the present moment. It's taking me away from the things that I can focus on and can do. So are you guilty of this? Are you guilty of future tripping? I wonder, because again, I think the A-type individuals that make shit happen and do things are the types of individuals that can get lost in the plan, lost in the vision, right? So I'm certainly guilty of this. And then on the flip side, are you lost in the past? Are you lost in things that happen? Have you not been able to move through those, let those go, and be here now? So when my mind starts to get lost and I catch myself getting lost in next week's problems, the practice is just to bring it back and focus on the next step, focus on what can happen next, focus on what's right in front of me. And then on the other end of the spectrum, not really my flavor. I don't think I dwell a lot on the past, at least not consciously. But again, if you find yourself in that, where am I at now? What can I do to remedy this, or what can I do to bring more of that, good life that I used to have into the present moment now? So uh, identify, like, which one do you fall into the category of? And it might be something that it's difficult for you to pick apart right now as we're talking about it. But if you start to pay attention to your patterns, to your stories, to the things that hang you up, you might be able to categorize them into future tripping or being lost, stuck in the past. And as you recognize, like, just that kind of mode of being, that story, that aspect of you that constantly, not constantly, but continuously, it comes up, it's a pattern, right? That happens over and over again, you can start to recognize, like, oh, that's just me tripping about the future again. Let me bring it back. It becomes less personal. It becomes less, I need to figure this out. It becomes um, what it is, just a story, just something where you're lost in the mind. And of course, there's lots of ways that one could bring themselves back from that. Um, we've talked about a lot of practices here before, but exercise, moving the body, breathing. For me, box breathing is very helpful and useful. If I count, a 4 count inhale, 4 count exhale, 4 count hold, 4 count inhale, hold for 4, exhale, hold for 4. If I do that for about 5 minutes, it'll really bring me back to the present moment. So that's like an out in the world thing. It's a really good skill to use. But then also just having habits, rituals, patterns, things that you do daily, whether that be working out, meditating, reading, writing, talking to friends, things that can help ground you here and now. So future tripping, that's what I'm wondering about. Is that something you're up to? Is that something you do? It's something to become aware of. It's a superpower, I think. I have a superpower. My superpower is to be able to see out into the future and create something, an idea, and then walk backwards into what needs to be done to make that thing happen. Um, if you're building a house, right? You go, I want to build a house. What's it look like, right? And you create the blueprints and you get everything clear on what needs to happen or what you need in order to build that house. I'm very good at doing that and helping people do that. And then the flip side, the downside to that skill, though, is I can get lost in those details if I'm not careful. So, um, I suppose someone that gets stuck in the past is probably very conscious, self-conscious, and aware of themselves, aware of what could be, and then weighs themselves heavy against that. It's not, again, my cup of tea, and it's not something I've thought about kind of in depth. Maybe I'll chew on it a little bit more. But if that's you, if you get caught, catch yourself in the past, what do we have? We have anxiety and we have depression. Depression's probably a good example of what we would call someone that gets stuck there. I don't know. I have to think about that one. But anyway, this rant is about that. It's about identifying where do you get stuck in the future, the past, and what can you do to come back to the present moment? Can you use finding those stories, noticing those patterns? Can you use that as a jumping off point to come back to the present and to focus on what's here and now instead of entertaining it, right? And feeding into it when it's going on. Instead, notice, oh, I'm doing that. What can I do next? What's the next move? Can I go for a walk? Can I jump in the cold shower? Can I meditate? Can I do some breathing? Can I call someone? What could I do to just bring me back to the present moment? So that's future tripping. That's getting stuck in the past. That's what takes you away from now. And those are some ways to mitigate it and adjust it. Um, I feel like I want to keep talking though. Here's the thing. There's a lot of things been happening, and um, just to kind of keep some updates going. I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this, with the tube, with the videos. Do I want to create videos that are very specific to challenges that people might be facing? Do I want this to be more of a blog, a vlog of sorts, where I'm sharing what's going on in my world? Do I want it to be a mixture of those things? I'm not sure. So right now would be a good time to end the video if I was focused on just talking about a particular concept. But I also do like kind of filling in updates. I feel like the way that I lead, the way that I support people, the way that I help people is from the front, from doing it with them. When I teach kickboxing, I like to work out with the class to feel what they feel. And sort of doors slam upstairs. No one should be in my house. Hopefully it was a neighbor. So I was just paying attention. Was there any footsteps? I don't know. Lost my train of thought there. Um, so trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel exactly. So right now, I appreciate anyone that watches these videos and sits through me figuring that out. There'll probably be a mixture of those things here. Committed to just doing this one video a week to keep me here and to keep me moving through it. And of course, I'll refine as things progress and move forward. Just some updates. And this is also another, I guess, little lesson, a little something that might be useful. I've been doing some country dancing, some two-stepping, some country swing, some Texas two-step. I've heard it called a lot of different things. I honestly don't know what I'm doing. I just go there and move around, and in doing so for the last few months, I picked some things up. And we went up to a place up in Everett, north of Seattle, last night. We were doing some dancing. I was kind of bored. They were doing a lot of line dancing, and so I decided to jam. And in jamming, I'm cruising down the road in the old Jeep Cherokee, and start hearing a sound. And in hearing this sound, I go, "That's not a good sound. I've heard that before. That's overheating." Um, and so I tried to ride it out to the next exit. Didn't want to be pulled over on the side of the road at 10 o'clock at night, needing help. So I rode it out, and my car died right at the top of the exit, and I was able to coast into a gas station. And so I'm in the gas station, and I got the chat GPT walking me through what's going on, what the problems could be. I've got tools in the car. I've got everything I need. And check it out. I've got some friends coming down south, so I hit them up. Hey, swing by here, check on me. I'm going to see if I can get this thing running. Couldn't do it. Couldn't get it running. So they come pick me up. We stick the Jeep at the gas station there. I call up a friend who's got AAA. He's going to help me out the next day, being today. And we just go to the next bar to dance. It's called Lemonade, right? It's making that lemonade, even in a crappy situation. There's nothing more for me to do. The car's broke down. I'm not going to let it ruin my fun. So we went out, danced a little bit more, shot some pool, had a good time. And I woke up feeling all right. Went for a run, went for a cold dip, met up with my friend, went up, picked up the Jeep, brought it back down. So I'll be replacing the head and the head gasket this week, the next couple days. It's fun. It's adventure, right? I could get all choked up on it and upset and whatever, and I certainly would at certain points in my life, but for whatever reason, there's some optimism there. So the tools are there, the skills are there, and it's an opportunity for me to dive a little bit deeper into this rig and learn a little bit more. But I just wanted to throw that out there too. Shitty things happen and go down, and we can let them ruin the day, or we can, just keep on dancing. Recognize what it is. I can't do anything about this now, right? Kind of future tripping. I get stuck in the problem or in the present moment here and now. I've got the opportunity to go get loose. So I'm going to do that. So we did that. We had fun. And I just got back actually from that whole thing. Recognized it was time to sit down, do a live here. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, a little bit of adventure, a little bit of life happening over here for me. That's what I do see these videos in this format being, as an opportunity for me to share a little bit of myself with the world. I like to definitely lock myself in at home and just kind of do my own thing a lot of times. So a big edge for me as of late has been just getting out, having fun, doing things. I started this channel 10 years ago, and it was a vlog thing. And I was just recording what's going on, what's up, what I'm experiencing. I bought a motorcycle. I went cruising. Watch me get lost in the past, nostalgia. No, not doing that. But the channel was that. And it was fun, and it was cool. So I don't know. We'll figure out what's going on here. We'll figure out a mix, probably, potentially. But right now, just settling in. Going to have a nice little Thanksgiving weekend. Going to work on the Jeep. And I hope you have a good Thanksgiving weekend as well. And I appreciate you guys tuning into this. And again, while I'm sorting it out, I'm also open to, requests. What are some challenges, some difficulties, some subject matter that we could talk about on here? Yes, I can sit down and think about those things. And I'm down to do that. I do that. I thought that this particular lesson would be helpful. But also very down for a direct, this is a challenge I'm having. What's up? What are your perspectives on it? I like coaching. I like supporting. I like looking at problems. I like being creative about how they're solved. I feel like I've picked up a lot. I know I've picked up a lot of very useful tools for doing that over the years. I've helped a lot of people in this capacity. And this is an opportunity, I suppose, for people to get that same kind of help and support through this. So if there's specific challenges, difficulties, things you're bumping up against in your life, drop a comment, send me a message, whatever, and we'll explore it. We'll do it. And as this thing continues, we'll explore different avenues of expression, different avenues of developing ourselves, different avenues of different subjects that we can touch on and explore. So that's what I've got right now. Again, hope you all have a good Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Till then.